Yeah, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening in whichever part of the world you're in. It's a pleasure to see you all today, and VSA is very happy and excited to host this webinar by Ms. Alexa Burnston, graduated from Duke University in May 2022. With a Bachelor of Arts, she's a Western classical singer with training in both jazz and Carnatic music. In spring of 2022, she performed a senior distinction recital in all three music forms, completed an ethnomusicology honors thesis, and graduated summa cum laude with a GPA of 4. Ms. Burnston recently completed Indian classical and commercial music industry research, whilst on a Fulbright Nehru Independent Research Grant Award.
We're going to discuss Western classical music, just so you have a knowledge of kind of my background, where I'm coming from, that kind of thing. Then we're going to talk about the concept of voice registers, a sensational feeling that, if you know how to identify, can really help in the way that you produce sound to ultimately sing. I'm going to talk about learning Carnatic music as a Western singer, similarities, differences, challenges, and rewards. And then lastly, I'm going to touch on the thing that people found really, really helpful that I spoke about while I was away, which is voice health. Practices that you can incorporate into your everyday lives to make sure that you are keeping your voice at the best ability that it can possibly be, and that your voice will be healthy, happy, and successful for many years to come. Okay, so in a musical theater style, this would sound like, this. Time and again, I've longed for adventure, something to make my heart beat the faster. I'm going to play you a little bit of jazz. The promised kiss of springtime that makes the lonely winter seem long. But for now, can people write in the chat just similarities and differences of what you heard stylistically? If there's anything, it doesn't have to be perfect. We can kind of talk about it, but I'd love to hear people's thoughts. So the summertime as an opera piece would sound like this. Summertime, and the living is easy. Has anyone heard of these terms? Head voice, mixed voice, chest voice. I saw someone say chest voice in the chat. Don't be afraid to say no, because if you do, would love to go into more detail about it. Opera sounded like head voice. I see we have mixed answers here, so we'll be able to talk about it. Head voice sounded like opera. Opera had the head voice, jazz had the chest voice. Great. I love your responses in the chat. When we sing or we speak in our head voice, it feels as if the sound is resonating or leaving our bodies from the top of our heads, hence the term head voice. So to channel your head voice, I want you guys all to try this on your own right now. What I want you to do is I want you to take a big breath, and I want you to make a siren sound, like you are a fire truck or just an alarm. It goes, woo! Woo! In Western classical music, you learn how to read music. There's a system of reading music. And so the notes are written on the page, they're composed. As a singer, I would be given some music by my teacher. I would be sent home to learn the music on my own by reading the notes, playing them on the piano, singing them. And then I'd come to my voice lesson that day, then whatever day my lesson was, with the music already learned. And then the teacher would go over more technique. Whereas in Carnatic music, it's been all oral. So you learn something the way that your guru teaches it to you. You learn it almost exactly the way your guru teaches it to you through the system, or at least that's how I found it. Another thing is stronger stamina as a singer. We'll talk about voice health in a moment, but something that's really, really special is that because of Carnatic training and the way that Carnatic singers are able to build and grow and practice, and there's such a good routine of practice, you can build your stamina up, that Carnatic concerts can then be 2-3 hours long or even longer, and people are able to sustain their voices for that long. Another way you can take a lot of strain off of your voice and your chest and your neck and your mouth when you sing is through proper breathing. Proper breathing, if people have ever heard of like yoga breathing, I know I gave a lecture and there was someone who was like, oh, this is yoga breathing. So I'm going to describe it anyway, but if you know it, great. And so a lot of people tend to say, oh no, my voice gets worse as I age, or my range gets worse, or I have to lower my shruti because I'm older. When in reality, if you take care of your voice, you may be able to continue using your voice at the same abilities as before for years and years to come. So for 2 minutes, I'm just going to touch on warm-ups really fast, and that's the last thing I'm going to say. So your voice is like a muscle, and it needs to be warmed up. Good warm-ups are about 5 to 10 minutes. You do a warm-up, you do a cool down. It includes stretching. You stretch your body, make sure your body is ready to sing too. That was kind of my presentation. So major takeaways are, I wanted to hopefully expose you guys to the different styles of Western music that I trained. Learn to distinguish those styles, see the similarities and differences. Then we talked about the different voice registers and how you can channel those yourself. Then we talked about voice health and how those practices can be incorporated throughout your lives. Somebody asked a question earlier that I wanted to touch on. It was about
vibrato similar to gamakam in Carnatic music.
Yeah. So I will say it's the similarities and differences. So vibrato is kind of a sensation that it's the same sensation no matter what. So your vibrato is generally consistent as you sing, whereas the gamakam may change depending on what you're singing in that moment.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Have a great
Hope
day.
you all, you too have a great day.